about ready to begin our organizational session of the County Board of Commissioners. We've asked today that lead pastor from the River Church join us and lead us in prayer. And Matt Trexler, lead pastor, is going to do that. And Mr. Mike Rohrbach, is council member, is going to lead us in the pledge. Would you all please stand with us as we prayer and pledge?
First, I prayed for you guys this morning. It's found in 1 Chronicles 4:10. Actually, it says, "Oh, that you would bless me and enlarge my territory. Let your hand be with me and keep me from harm so that I will be free from pain." It's actually called the prayer of Jabez.
Amen.
And praying that this year, as you lead in our county, that God would bless you, He would enlarge your influence, His presence would be real with you, and He would protect you. So let's pray that. Father, thanks for today, and Holy Spirit, we ask for you to show up and do what only you can do in the hearts and lives of people in our community. We know that there's only so much we can do in these meetings. Ultimately, we need your power and your spirit to show up in new and fresh ways in our city, in our county, and in our country. So God, I do ask and pray that you would bless these leaders as they've set themselves aside to lead in this way. As commissioners, I pray, God, that you would enlarge their influence, expand the territory that they have. God, may your presence be real in their lives, in their homes, in their workplaces, and in these meetings. God, may it not be about them, but may it be about you. Father, I pray that you'll protect all of our county leaders, all of the deputies in the sheriff's department, in the jail. I pray for our council people, our commissioners, everybody that leads in an office in this building and beyond, God. We just pray for protection that you can offer them today. And Father, we're praying for an awakening in our community, praying for an awakening in our county that would literally, God, that people would look at Grant County and say, man, what's going on different there? And that we could say it's because we put ourselves and trust in you. So God, help us today. Be with this meeting. Grant them favor. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Pastor Trexler. Thank you, Mike Rohrbach. All right, we need to change up the items here just a little bit following prayer and allegiance before the claims and payroll. First act of organization, we need to review and look at our president and vice president positions on the Board of Commissioners.
Mr. President, I would move that we reappoint you to another year, since I've only been here for about 6 months now. And that would be my suggestion to reappoint you as president for this coming year of 2023.
And I second that recommendation. Is that kind of a motion, or
It can be, yes.
if that is your motion and there's a second, we would say all in favor would say aye.
Aye.
And I will say aye as well. All right. Second, the vice president's position, who will chair if president is not available or incapacitated, would be interested in thoughts and nominations.
I would like to recommend that Mr. Wright as the vice president, since this is really my first day.
If you make that motion, I'll second that.
I do make it a motion.
All right, I'll support that. Any other discussion? No. All those in favor would say aye.
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 I'll abstain.
You can abstain if you so desire. That is right. All right, we have set our leadership team. We'll move to the current claims minutes payroll. And under claims and payroll, we have a set of invoice edit reports dated 12/19 of 22. This was pre-approved. The general batch was $384,020.68. Other batch was $71,589.50.
5 cents.
5 cents. Thank you. I was going too fast again.
It's okay.
Highway batch, $534,066.18 for a grand total, $989,675.91. That would be, the invoice edit reports that were, pre-approved. And I have, an entire packet of single pre-approvals. I'll read through that. Madam Auditor, I'm going to ask you, you set this so that we can sign this particular batch. Do we need to sign each of the singles, or if we sign the batch form, are we okay?
The batch formally fine.
Okay, I'm ready. Here are the single pre-approvals. AT&T Mobility, $69.96. BI Incorporated, $11,000. CDW Government, $285.04. Charter Communications, $1,138.93. Greg Persinger, that would probably be in their legal service, $180.12. Culligan Water Conditioning, $1,161.30. Ebenezer Sportswear, $102.50. MCOR Services, $6,212. Gas City Utilities, $242.46. Again, Gas City Utilities, $1,004.02. Gas City Utilities, $180.76. Lorraine County Economic Growth Council, $25. Hoosier Jiffy Print, $36. Indiana Election Division, $1,625. Nancy Bryant, $78. Pam Harris, $102.12. Brad Water, $17. Sharon, $78. Staples Advanced, $339.98. Staples Advanced, $53.56. Thomas Group, $180.12. Again, Thomas Group in the amount of $270.12. Capital One, $441.53. Spitzer, Harriman, Stevenson, Boulder Reed in the amount of $3,999. Again, Spitzer, Harriman in the amount of $3,250. Again, Spitzer, Harriman in the amount of $3,000. Star Financial Bank card members, $813.28. Star Financial in the amount of $64. WellWorks, $820. These were the pre-approved claims between the 19th and the 22nd. Then we had another bank of pre-approvals. These were all trying to get us done before we ended the year, last year's budget. These others were Capital One in the amount of $441.53. I think we did those. Yep.
You did. It
We did. All right. So I think that does cover all our pre-approvals. What we need to do with the pre-approvals, when we are not in session, the president or the highest ranking member of the commissioners has the ability to pre-approve expenses that need to go out. So when we do that, we need a motion to ratify those pre-approvals.
I'll make that motion to ratify the pre-approvals for 12/19, I believe it was, correct?
Yes. And the singles as well.
And the singles as well.
And that's something I can second.
You can second.
No, and I second.
Yeah. All right, any discussion on those? I did my very dead level best, to make sure I said
Yeah.
each one.
The only one I was, MCOR Services, what,
Sure, I have the claims.
$6,000. Someone else seen
Marcus, is MCOR under your direction?
It's under maintenance.
Maintenance.
maintenance, okay, all right, all right.
Any other questions? All right, we have a motion with support. No further questions. All those in favor would say aye.
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 Aye, it is carried. I'll let you start signing those. We also have today's general invoice edit reports, other and highway invoice edit reports. The general invoice edit report for today is at $85,226.85. The other batch, $5.60. Highway batch, $13,676.51 for a grand total of $151,908.96. Now, this has not been pre-approved. It comes before you to be paid. So, if you are amenable to that, we could have a motion to pay the bills as presented.
I make a motion that we pay the bills as presented for the timeframe of 01/02/23.
I second that motion.
Motion with support. Any discussion or questions on those items? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried. Last but not least, in this particular segment, was payroll 26. Formal approval of payroll 26 was, the pre-approval was given on December 19th. Gross amount was $537,890.23. That was paid out on December the 22nd. Again, that was a pre-approval, so we would need a motion to ratify that payroll.
Make a motion that we ratify payroll number 26.
I second.
Right, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried. If you don't mind signing those. Pass them around. That should clear all of our bills up at this particular time. We do have some minutes that are there for your consideration. Of course, Mr. Stewart was not with us yet. Mr. Wright, your name is on here, so that's good.
Finally here.
So we have July 5th, July 18, and August 1st that have been reviewed, edited. Do you have any other comments, corrections before we would take any action on that?
Can we pass these all?
We could pass them all together.
Okay. Mr. President, I move that we pass the regular session meeting minutes from July 5th, July 18th, and August 1st.
There is a motion and I will support that. So we have a motion with support. I have no other, I've already marked it up. So I would say all those in favor of adopting those minutes would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those abstaining? Aye. Carried 2 to 1 abstention, and we have taken care of that. Very good. I think we are ready to go to communication and board updates. Congratulations and welcome to our new auditor. Madam Auditor, do you have anything updates from your department?
It's too soon. Not right now.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And anytime that you need to interject, feel free to do so. All right, other elected officials in the room? Seeing any? See Bob? EMA? Going to tell us what we dodged, right?
We did dodge one. Good morning.
Morning.
Welcome, Commissioner Stewart,
Thank you.
Madam Auditor. Good to see you all. So we did have an EOC briefing, our first one of the year this morning, with a lot of the county schools, the hospital, Dr. Moore. We typically do that the first Monday of the month, just to keep that team together. And we're looking at some different ways that we can communicate with them. We'll be reaching out to the long-term care facilities in the county as well, and include them in the future. Typically Dean Small from the health department would speak for them, but really they they really need to have their own representative there, so we're gonna work on that. COVID numbers today, I think there was 30 over the weekend, health department reported, with 10 today, so, really not bad. We're trending very well there. However, the hospital, is seeing a lot of flu. Mainly it's the flu. And then, RSV was still an issue out there too. Staffing is a problem, not only with the hospital, but with the long-term care facilities as well. So that's another issue that we tend to watch. And it affects our ability to, provide, services to the folks in the county. One last thing, and I do have a representative from the Indiana Department of Homeland Security with me here today. Elena works in the, exercise division, so she'll be helping us put together some plans and maybe assist us with an exercise later in the year. Make sure we meet all the criteria and all that, so she's a big benefit to us. But one of the things we did do, and I'll have a full report, my end of the year report that I'll send to my council and also the commissioners. We did do an assessment of threats and hazards for the county. So the top 5 that come into that, top 5 in order: severe weather, tornado, winter storms, flooding, utility failure, which actually wasn't even in the top 10 last year, is now number 2. And we did have an issue with that recently. So utility failure was number 2, fire explosion was 3, cyber attack, which is number 4, and Marcus and I are still continuing to work on that. And then acts of terrorism, both domestic and import. So that's our top 5 things we'll work on this year. And of course, always open to any suggestions the commissioners may have for us on that.
Sometimes I think you get tired of my suggestions.
You have a funny way of making things happen.
You had mentioned possibly some rough weather this afternoon.
So yes, there is. So we're watching it. It's pretty minor at this point. We continue to keep an eye on it, but there is the potential. And it was 57 degrees this morning. When it was 57 degrees in January, that makes me a little leery. But there will be some rain. I don't think we have any risk of flooding. There may be a minor storm this afternoon, could pop up. We'll keep an eye on that. Freezing rain potentially for the weekend, Friday, Saturday timeframe. We don't know for sure what that looks like, but as it gets closer to the end of the week, we'll get updates.
And again, I assume media is with us, maybe they aren't, but I think it's always good to remind folks about our levels of advisories. Do you mind doing that again?
Sure. So, and we did go red, I believe it was Christmas Eve. We had to go with red travel restrictions. So whenever we put the county in yellow, that's an advisory. We're asking people to use caution, travel really only when you have to. And then watch is essential traffic only. And if we have to go red, that's a warning that really, that's really our healthcare workers, our emergency workers, those kind of folks that really have a need to be on the road are really the only ones that should be. We did do that for probably about 30 hours, I think, somewhere in there, if I remember right. And there again, that's done in conjunction with Mr. White from the Highway Department, the Sheriff's Department. ISP usually has a say in that. And then, of course, I had to get one of the commissioners out of bed. Sorry, it happens.
Right. Any questions for our EMA director today? You get the right of first refusal since this is your first meeting.
No, I will say, because I was included in some of the emails, you did a very good job of communicating. So
Thank
yeah, I appreciate that.
Honestly, there's a big team out there, and I appreciate all their help. One guy does not do it. It's a team effort for sure. Thank you.
All right, other elected officials, special committees. Marcus doesn't have a really big smile on today,
Well, I'm not spending money per se, so.
so I've got a bigger smile.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Pass that down to Commissioner Justin. There should be one of there.
So, basically, I'm just, here today to, follow up on the, the IN.gov move over. So part of that, that discussion that hasn't been brought up is our current county website, because that's basically where they would want to start first after talking with the state folks. So basically we need to figure out if we want to stick with our current vendor that we use for the website today, or if we want to go with the state system. So I talked to Justin, he advised me to create a pros and cons list. So I went ahead and did that for you guys, for you to review. Basically, if I was to summarize it, from an IT standpoint, I think, it'd be in the county's best interest to look into going with the state and their platform. Just because we have had some communication issues with our current vendor on certain things, and part of your packet that I gave you guys actually has an attachment from the owner of Scared Rabbit. I guess they got acquired sometime last year, and so they went a whole year without telling us that ownership had changed and stuff. And basically they sent an email apologizing to all their customers and things like that. But wasn't really a lot of confidence to me, so.
We're currently spending on our website platform.
So, I believe we moved to it in 2017. I believe the commissioners paid for it out of their accounts. I believe it was like $4,000 or $5,000 for it. We did spend, I think it was $500 to upgrade the storage on it, because we were getting alerts on it. That was back in 2020. So I believe it's around a couple grand every time we go to renew it. So, but with the state system, they were saying it was low cost or no cost to the county, because they're trying to get people in counties to use it.
My understanding also on it is that there's certain state things or items or whatever
Mhm.
that this will open us up for, to have a better shot at getting state funding. Is that correct?
Well, that's like just for the IN.gov
Yes.
all around. For our website, obviously that does help, because it, a lot of times with grants, they might want the county website, and that'll be another verification or check mark for them. So I can definitely go in that favor. The other thing was, they talked about, certain compliances, and things like that. And basically we'd be guaranteed to have all that stuff on the state system.
Sir, one of your cons on here for moving to the state is you have to rebuild website page layouts.
Yes, that's correct.
How long, roughly, and that's probably not anything you can.
I would guess probably if it's, I was told it's kind of similar to our current system where we can go in and make changes to it. If it's anything like that, I would assume maybe 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
Because, I mean, we could, in theory, copy over all the stuff that's on the current website. Just go through and copy and paste everything, but I would imagine a lot of the departments would probably want stuff updated and want the layout changed if they would prefer. So we'd probably have to coordinate with all the different offices to figure out what they want. So it would be some additional time for the building process of it.
So there is no say, yeah, the word there. There is no, come on, Steve. Proprietary type information on our current website that is owned by the website company that.
No.
Okay.
So, I guess the only thing that would be proprietary would be just kind of the look and the layout of the site. So the way it worked was, they basically designed the layout of the website. It's our current theme, I guess you could call it. And basically, we're locked into that kind of the way it looks right now. We can't really change too much of it. With this new site, or new platform, basically, they give us, I think they said it was 3 different templates to start from. And they said they're looking into adding more layouts to it. So.
And you can do that internally.
Yes, and the goal would be to, like with our current system, we would, delegate permissions to other county offices. So that way they can update their web pages on their own.
Steve's question kind of sparked something with me. We currently have our webpage, and then we have certain links that go to like data pit stop or to the GIS type of thing. How will that work in the future? Will we still have to have an agreement with like data pit stop and our other?
Yeah, I mean, those aren't really agreements or anything. They're more or less just links to those sites. I mean, they're basically glorified shortcuts. So like on our homepage, we have the quick links. So we could do something similar to that on a new one.
So we don't have to do any new agreements with our.
No, because
vendors or-
it just links to it. It doesn't pull data or anything from most programs. So it just takes them right straight to the GIS site or Darren's data. So it's not like it's integrated, with their databases and everything like that.
Other questions, gentlemen? We can digest this a little bit. We don't have to act on it today. Unless Marcus thinks we have to do it immediately.
I mean, like I said, I just typed this out this morning. So if you gentlemen want to look it over and, just kind of see if you have any questions, you can, call me or shoot me an email and I'd be glad to answer them. And we can, resume this the next meeting.
Is it advantageous to get this approved as quickly as possible, or does it matter?
I mean, there's not really too much of a rush on it. I know we want to get it done by the end of first quarter. Once we know this is the direction we want to go, then we can start working on it. I just know there's some things, if we go with the state system, we have to, look at the new system and then have to rebuild everything. But the nice thing is we can rebuild everything, then it just be pointing everything to the new stuff. So we can have it all done ahead of time.
From what I've seen, they move quickly on their end.
Yes, because I mean, it wasn't like 24 hours and they were already reaching out to Commissioner Bardsley. Get stuff done, so.
And to be clear, you're recommending that we move to the state.
Mhm.
Side of the state.
Yeah, I think in the long run, it's going to be the most beneficial.
We don't have a hard, fast deadline from the state.
No, so because I know they emailed you, they were asking if, when we would like it to be done. That sounds like
Everybody talks about it, that's fine, but I'm going to side with the IT guy, so. If he says to move, then
And I've been involved in the talks and process and stuff like that. I'm comfortable with it. I want to make sure you were comfortable with it as well.
I am.
Yeah, we can do something today if you want to.
So what kind of motion would we need here? Just a motion that we would go with the state's
Yeah, with their web hosting platform.
web hosting?
Yes.
And really, it's going to save us money, correct?
Yep, because they'll handle the website, they'll manage all the back end stuff for it. We just, us and the county will just have to manage the content. So,
Are we at the end of the renewal with Scared Rapid?
like I said, that I'm not sure. I think it is coming up because it was renewed or we first got it in 2017 and we just did the storage on it like in 2020. I think that might have been like a 2 or 3 year deal on that.
So we don't know if we're under contract with them.
Well,
I think that's a
it's-
good point.
Yeah, we're just kind of paying to use their service. So if we want to cut it off, I mean, we can,
Okay,
so. It's not like we're locked into them or anything and they've been pretty affordable and stuff too, so it wasn't much, so.
I assume with whatever agreement we have, we probably got a 30 or 60 day notice.
Yeah, we just let them know.
Ready to make a motion? Where you want?
I would like to make a motion that we move to the state provided website platform.
I'll second that.
Mr. Stewart made a motion to proceed with the state website platform. Mr. Wright seconded that. Any other discussion or questions? Sir. Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
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 Hey, thanks again, gentlemen. The only other update I have is the camera project is still going on. They just mounted cameras over at the new EMS building. So those are installed and they're currently finishing up the D-home. They should have it done by today. They said they would start at the courthouse whenever weather permitted, because they have to get I think it was a lift or something to get up there to mount the cameras. So whenever that's good, they'll go and get that done. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Mr. White, you ready to join us, sir?
Morning.
Morning.
Last meeting, I think I asked if we could have the stone and oil bid for the next meeting, but I'd like to request we move it to February 6th meeting, if that's all right. I want to make sure we got plenty of time for the auditor's office to advertise and everything else, if that's all right, so.
I don't think we would have a problem with that. We move that by consent.
Okay, all right. Update you on a few other things that we're looking at doing. We've received some information, Mr. Barsley, and I got the information from the state. There's a thing coming from the federal government called a NOFO. Basically, it stands for Notice of Funding Opportunity. I think they gave out like $1.5 billion to the state of Indiana, or going to try to look with United to see if there's any bridge projects that we can apply for that funding for. And the deadline on it is February 28th. So I'm going to look and see if we can get some information to get that money put into, maybe apply for some of that money, if that's all right.
Are we current on shovel ready on any of our future projects or?
That was the next thing I was gonna bring up, is we do have one bridge that we're going to apply for community crossing grant money, the first round, Bridge 16 up on EOOW at 600 North area. We'd like to apply for that money, for that project, so. Just to remind you, gentlemen, that the community crossing grant is a 50-50 match, and it goes up to $1 million that we can request. So if we do get the full million, we'll have to match it with $1 million. So if we've done quite a few bridges with it, since 2016, I think every year we've had a bridge that we've done with it. So the Washington Street here in Marion, we did it last time. Community crossing grant, and then the bridge on 1000 East that we just finished last fall. That's where that money went. So every year we've got money since 2016 on that. So just want to make sure you gentlemen are all right if I apply for that in January of this year for the community crossing grant.
So I take it you've already baked that kind of money into your budget,
Yeah.
correct? You're not,
Yeah.
no special appropriation or anything like that?
No, I've already got it pretty much. We've been paying for the design, right away permits and all that good information. So got that all
Good.
working out right now. So I'm good to apply for that.
So
We would be in,
you need a motion on that?
I think since we're gonna talk money, a motion would be.
Yeah. I'll make a motion that we approve Mr. White taking a look at going after grant money for bridges with, did you say NOFO?
Yeah, NOFO
Yeah,
and community crossing grant.
yeah, and community crossing grant. That's my motion.
All right.
I second that motion.
Motion with support. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. It's carried.
Good. Some other things, I'm getting my ERC training updated. That's the things that I have to be qualified for to apply for that money. So I always do mine in January. So I'm getting that done. I think Bobby brought up a little bit earlier that we worked on Christmas Eve, getting the roadways open back up, and it was a little different storm this year than what we've had in the past, but seemed like everything went fairly smooth and we got everything open after the red, so we could get everybody back out on it. So,
I would like to compliment the highway department
Yes.
and the EMA, because if you remember, up until our meetings, we really didn't have a specific set of roads that we knew were going to be worked on, so the emergency personnel could get from municipality to municipality. And I greatly appreciate you guys working together to make that happen during our first major storm.
the only other thing I had to bring up today is, Blackford County, they are going to look at this year at installing a solar farm / wind farm. And one of the roadways they would like to use is our County Road 1200 East, basically from State Road 18 to 500 South. We maintain that roadway. And the company, Prairie Creek Wind LLC, has gave me a road use agreement. Mark, I know in the past you've been with us when we did the one in Tipton County, I believe it was, that we had that. I've reviewed some of it. I've made some changes, but I'm working on that. I guess when it gets a little closer, I'll let you guys look at it, let Kyle look at it, all that, see what you recommend. One thing they don't have in there is how we had that inspected before. And so I want to talk to Blackford County and see if they have in their road use agreement where they have basically an engineering firm inspected the way it was and keep it updated and everything else. So I'm going to see if they have something in their agreement that they're going to use or an engineering firm to do that, or if we need to add that or something. So just update you gentlemen as I get the information.
That's wise. And again, just a parallel, have we had any type of problems on 1200 South where we did that agreement?
No, I was gonna say, I think that road will outlast me. I mean, it's, they really did a nice job, and I don't see where they've kind of went in there, did the soil stabilization and all that prior to doing the actual construction. And I know that's the way they did all those down there, which I think was a benefit to the public and everything else, so I'm going to see about if they're gonna do that at Blackford County or not.
We appreciate your diligence on that.
I was gonna say, and I think if I remember right, one email I seen, it wasn't gonna start till the fall of 2023, so. Update you on that. I'll keep you updated as things go along with that, so.
Thank you.
That's all I have, unless you forward them.
Questions for? Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. All right, I'm seeing nothing under old business. Under new business, Chris Cunningham is in the room, and he has some updates for us on grant review.
All right, before I start the grant review, I know you guys have all had great comments and feedback for EMA, but I do have one complaint. My grandkids were very upset. when they heard it was a red level and that Santa was gonna be restricted to travel on Grant County roads. So I had to assure them that they would not be in trouble because Santa was doing air flight, not travel from on the roadway. So they were not as exasperated after I told them that when they first got those notices. So, but anyway, I told them they're safe. So two items for you today. One is the court reform grant. The good news is we received the grant. A little bit of change with that in that the grant that we received had to be reduced by 3.2%. And the reason for that was the number of applications that we received. So I had an opportunity to talk with Marcus about it, and he feels like that can be made up within the IT budget. So just to refresh your memory and for you, Commissioner Stewart, just as an update, this is a court reform grant that we applied for in November. It covers, so this will double the amount of courthouse security cameras from roughly a little over 20 to 40. It'll add 4 mobile stations. And then also some iPads for utilization for that, and then the software to be able to do some facial recognition for people, and also to be able to do a census of those people that are in the courthouse. So you know who's in there at what particular time, and then if something were to happen, what offices are occupied, what offices aren't. So the total grant originally was going to be $81,373. And now the total amount is $78,742. And that would create an additional $2,631 that the county would have to make up. So I just wanted to keep you updated. Marcus says he's willing. I don't know if it's something you need to make a motion or approve. Once, Angie, for you, if that's approved today, I'll give you a copy of the agreement and the grant amount. There are reporting requirements that are a part of the agreement. There's 4 quarterly reports and then an annual report that has to be done. Marcus was telling me he could track the expenses. This is, just a reminder, this is a reimbursable grant. So we have to expend the money first once, and I've been assured that that's usually less than 30 days once we submit the claim that has to be paid then. But we have to, part of that too, Angie, will require us to track those under the specific areas. So if we buy, if Marcus has to buy 80 cameras, we got to have a bill specifically for those 40 cameras and what they would be. And then out of that particular account, so everything matches financially, and that puts us in good standing then for future grants that come down the line. So, and answer any questions that you might have. Again, a compliment to Marcus. We usually watch that page and watch the different things on the notices, but he saw it first, and we sent it available. Judge Spitzer will be the sign off on the grant agreement because it is a court grant. And then I will get all the reporting particulars that'll come to me. So you shouldn't be bothered with any other reportings or approval after this action today. So.
We have a question now. So will this help with cost with what we've already decided to do, Marcus, or this is above and beyond with cameras?
Well, I mean, it would, well, they gave us additional, I mean, when we got the pricing and stuff initially, they obviously, thought about all the other purchases and stuff we made. So we did get both discounting and stuff on it.
I'm talking about this grant money. Will
Yeah.
it cover some of the expenses that we've already signed for? Or is that?
No, so this is, so basically for the grant, it's tied to the work and for the equipment for the cameras on the interior.
Interior?
Yeah,
Okay.
interior,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And then who is responsible for that April 15th, July 15th, October 14th, and July 13th report? Chris, you, okay.
Yeah, I'll do that with Marcus's help.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because he'll have to code those for me and tell me what the costs were, and then
Yeah, because we have to inventory the cameras.
So,
I don't know a Ferdaka from a Toshiba, so he's gonna have to give me what the costs and all that other stuff are for the specifics.
so if something goes awry there, we just take it out of your budget, is that correct?
No, no, just take it out of
Just
Marcus. You take it out of Marcus, yeah, you take it out of Marcus. Yeah. I don't think anything should go awry, because I think there's, all of the scope of work is purchasing of equipment. So once Marcus gets the equipment ordered, my report should be, most of it will probably be expended, I would guess, in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And so after that, it's should going to be zeros on the rest of the quarter and then the
Yeah.
annual report.
Yeah, and the other thing.
It's not rocket science.
That makes it really easy is, vendor that we are buying the cameras from, they're also doing the install and, the setup. So we'll be getting everything through them, the labor and the equipment. So we should be able to work with them, streamline it to what, the.
And there's a lot of cool things with it too. I mean, before we were really locked into viewing stations, and we'll have those, but, where you can monitor it via your cell phone. So there are a lot of, cool things that'll help out our security officers who are already stressed with, having to deal with so many things. So they'll be able to, if you've been in there before and you see the desk that's there and they're looking at that desk, that's the only place you can see really all of those cameras. So now by adding those stations, and if they're in different courts, they can look at it via an iPad. So there's a lot of cool things that just give them a better handle on safety and security. So, and then I had one other item when you decide what you want to do with this to talk about.
I thought as we put this into motion November, hoping that we would see this, and I'm excited that we've gotten that, and since Marcus is gonna cover that extra $2,600 that was lost. I would recommend that we approve the grant.
You need a motion for that?
We would definitely need a motion since we're gonna take money from the state.
Yep, I'll make a motion that we go after the court reform grant, for security cameras, interior, for the courthouse, as well as, what else, Marcus? Is this going anywhere else?
No, this was specifically,
For the
the
courthouse.
grant was for court reform, so it was to go to the courts or courthouse security and technology.
So for the courthouse.
Yep, so it's just for that.
That would be my motion.
I second that motion. Do have a motion, Mr. Wright, second, Mr. Stewart. Any other discussion or questions? Sir. Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye. Aye. Aye, it is carried.
Thank you
Well
very
done.
much.
Both of you, well done.
Thank you. And the second item I had for you, and I think I sent Commissioner Bardsley and Commissioner Wright. I didn't have your email yet to be able to send that to you, Commissioner Stewart, but one of the things that I had a conversation with the judges last week about the possibility of a separate entrance for them from one of the existing doors that we have. Right now, they are funneled through an entrance with the inmates that come over and other people who are representing people who could cause issues for them. And so specifically talked with Judge Todd. His suggestion was to be able to use the north entrance of the courthouse up the steps for them to be able to enter and have a separate entrance for the prosecutor and for the judges. I told him that I would, bring that to your attention and see if that was possible. I think they would prefer a swipe, card swipe if they could, but if in the short term, we need to use a key for that. But again, I don't know if that requires a separate door. I noticed the door that's there now has a lock bar on it. So it probably would require some changes, to that. The reason I bring that up to you is because we're talking about interior cameras for the courthouse. And so if that's something that you're willing to consider, then obviously we want to make sure we have proper camera placement for that door so that they could see it on mobile as prosecutors, deputy prosecutors and prosecutor and judges entered that door. they'd be able to be viewed, for that, for their entrance, so.
And right now, they just use the same entrance as everybody else.
That's correct. That's correct. So when inmates are coming through, when, people who are, family members of other people that are involved in trials or, murder trials or anything like that, they are all funneled through there together so that they feel like, and, I'm not gonna speak for the sheriff or the security, but I know it could cause, some issues with individuals coming through, so.
Did do a tour of the courtrooms with Judge Spitzer,
Mhm.
and he did point that out to me. He says, well, we'd feel a lot safer if we could have our own entrance. And again, let's face it, we're looking at a different time, I think it's a request that we should take heed to be any time that we can make it safer for our employees. I think we need to do that. So,
That sounds like a no-brainer to me. I agree.
and so if it was a card type thing, Marcus, what would we need to do there? And whose budget would that come out of?
So, like for the camera part or,
No, for like the automatic door,
oh, the
instead of a
automatic
key type thing.
Door swipe.
The
Oh,
badge.
okay. Yeah, like I said, Verkada, they have a system, that could work with that. The other option would be, kind of expanding on what's out at Central Dispatch. And basically expanding that system out more. We'd have to buy a, controller for it, and then obviously the equipment for the door itself.
I think we'll have to do a little homework.
Yeah.
We're talking about building maintenance and repair that comes out of our budget.
Okay,
It's out of us.
can you check in on that for us?
Yeah, because we got, pricing not that long ago for, the EMS office. But if we want to go with, Verkada, I mean, it doesn't really matter vendor wise, but. Yeah, I can get that. I can get you some options.
Appreciate you bringing that up.
No, you're welcome.
Cunningham, like I say, Mr. Spitzer, Judge Spitzer talked to me about that stuff. And
Right.
It's been on my mind when we were getting these cameras in first and stuff like that, but that is something I really wanted to kind of follow up on to make it safer for.
And I wouldn't have, they brought it to me and I thought we could wait on it, but with the cameras and the placement for that for Marcus, I thought, well, if it is gonna be there, we are gonna wanna make sure we have a camera there so they can see it at the mobile station. That's why I brought it up.
Because I have a rough idea of like placements for the cameras, but it's not,
I know,
they're not married to them, so now would be the perfect time
right.
to shift them around if we have to.
Good, thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Are you gonna stick around or do you have to get back over across the?
I can stick around if you need me to.
In a little while, we're going to talk about some of the appointments, and I just wanted to have you update us on the difference between the JRAC and the
Sure, yeah,
community
I
corrections.
can hang around. Yeah,
Okay,
I can hang around.
thank you.
Or is it Chris?
All right. Move that fairly quick, so part of our next session, discussion on committee assignments for 2023. One of the first things in our assignments, gentlemen, is we make up the Board of Finance. And so we'll have to schedule a date. We usually have to do it in the month of January. And the treasurer is a part of this particular board. Do you have any objections or concerns about following the next session of the Board of Commissioners and having a Board of Finance? That usually will run us 15 to 20 minutes. Again, that's kind of a organizational thing and reviewing with the treasurer what type of interest and investment we received this past year. So it's a fairly short meeting, but is that okay?
That sounds good to me.
All right, so we would schedule the Board of Finance for next 17th. And immediately following the Board of Commissioners and or 11:30, whichever comes first.
Yeah, we're not gonna be meeting on that Monday because I believe it's a holiday, correct?
Correct.
That's correct.
All right. We have the following assignments for commissioners as well. Currently serving on area plan, Mr. Wright is there, and do you have any objections to
Stay on.
stay on?
No objections.
All right. We have East Central Indiana Solid Waste District. We have to have 2 commissioners appointed to that. Right now, Mr. Wright and I are serving on that. We found out this past meeting that if one of us cannot, for any given reason, we can actually appoint the other commissioner to be our proxy for a meeting. So if that's okay, we can maintain that, or if you want to jump in, we'll put you on that board too.
I'll let you guys handle that. Sounds great.
All right, Drainage Board. We have a 5-member board. 1 commissioner sits on that board. I currently serve there, and happy to continue that process right now.
Yep, I'd recommend that.
I agree. Economic Growth Council, 1 commissioner is assigned to that council, sits on the executive committee as well. Mr. Wright is currently serving there, and I think have some inroads, have some good things going on. If he agrees to continue in that vein.
Well,
We're going to immerse you in emergency management, if that's okay, Ron.
That'll work.
We have a local emergency planning council, LEPC. We have a commissioner on that, and then as well, we have the Emergency Management Agency Advisory Committee. 1 commissioner sits on that, and we'd like you to at least start with emergency management stuff, if that's all right. I'll still be in the shadows, but we're gonna let him get himself an education, if that's all right.
Sounds good.
We have Regional Energize East Central Indiana. Current appointments, Justin Sadoff and Shane Middlesworth. As far as I'm concerned, we can continue those appointments if there's been no objection.
Yeah.
I think Shane is also said he's willing to. And then, this is where I'm asking you questions.
Okay, you want me to come up here or you want?
It doesn't matter.
Okay,
We have a commissioner and or remind me, the commissioner president is supposed to sit on the JRAC.
so it's the commissioner president or his designee.
Okay,
So it can, and so it's part of the local advisory council, which is, which the statute allows us to merge that with the Community Corrections Advisory Board. So, the membership actually goes to the president of the county commissioners, but it says commissioners, president or his designee. So it gives you the ability if you want another commissioner to serve or someone else as well, and you can do that as well.
So when do they meet?
So we meet, our next meeting is January 24th. I did not bring a meeting schedule, but they meet, Tuesday. And I think we have 6 meetings for the year.
And what time of day?
It's usually over the lunch hour because of elected officials and courts time and everything else. So it's usually, and for this year, we're meeting over in the 2nd floor of Star Bank Building. And usually noon, the meeting starts at noon. It's usually done by 1:30.
so that helps to answer my question about JRAC and community corrections in that combination. And again, I'm very flexible on this because we've been doing so many different things for a while, gentlemen. I'm happy to continue to sit on there, but I would be happy to appoint one of you gentlemen and or, move us in. So, because we're going to be affecting, we've got the jail study committee and they're going to be feeding into the JRAC and so, information. So we're going to be really busy on this year, and I'm easy on how we want to do this. So
I know I can't make the meeting on the 24th, so I don't know if that helps us. Helps you.
And I know the June meeting may be a little tough on you sometimes.
Yeah, but I can work around it, but I know I can't do the 24th, so.
You know, I'm fine with whatever we need to do.
Why don't right now, we continue to say president or his designee? And we can go from there.
Okay.
Because that means a meeting 3 months from now, you can appoint one of us to go in your place. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yes, so what, all I would need from you, Mark, is then an email that would say, you know, I'm the appointee, but I'm unable to attend this meeting. Steve, or, you know, Commissioner Stewart, one of the others going to be, you know, attending in my stead.
That sounds good to me.
Okay,
All right with that?
good. Thank you.
And then they will have your vote for that, just that particular meeting, unless you decide to make it a longer.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know you don't sit on this, but you kind of given us some direction and help, the opioid work group. I've kind of worked with Judge Spitzer and on that.
So that is one of the subcommittees of the local advisory council, community corrections advisory board with the recommendations. And I resource it. I do the minutes and everything in that part, but you're right. Judge Spitzer chairs that committee.
So again, I think we can talk to Judge Spitzer, but I think if we have the same attitude, that we just make sure that we get one of our commissioners into that meeting. I think he'll be all right, but we can clarify that with him.
Sounds good.
All right.
Is that all you needed me for, sir?
Yes, sir. That covered my questions.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
I believe that we have two other items for sure we need to hit on the commissioner assignments. IT committee, do we still have that? Is that still working, Marcus? Because Ron, Mallory was on the IT committee at one point, and I think because of,
Are you talking like for the radio project and stuff?
I believe that was,
That would be the broadband.
well, we had, I thought we had IT and a broadband boards.
I know we have a broadband ready. I'm not sure about IT.
Okay.
I've never seen.
Well, I know that like many years ago, there was like a IT group and Judge Haas was a part of it. That was before my time. Then they have the tech meeting, which is where we do the radio stuff. I'm a
Yeah,
part
that's
of
over
that.
at dispatch.
Yeah, I'm a part of that. As far as anything specific for IT, the only thing recently was the cybersecurity committee. So I don't know if maybe that's what you're,
Yeah, I would say that's not it. So I think the only one we have to worry about is the broadband.
Okay, so no IT committee.
Yeah, I would say we don't have to worry about the IT committee.
Probably replace that with cybersecurity then.
yeah, it's,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So we need to do something about cybersecurity committee and then a broadband representative. I don't know if that's, I mean, we don't have, the broadband committee hasn't been together as of yet. That board hasn't fully been established. We just set it up by ordinance, so it's there. So we'll need somebody to kind of take the lead on that.
I'd be ready to do that.
Awesome. Yep. We'll put Mr. Stewart in there. Bring some of that Madison Grant know-how.
That's right.
Right. By consent, I think we've gotten those put together. The other items that we usually do are staffing appointments. I think currently, we're at the point where I would recommend that we reappoint our HR county administrator, our maintenance director, our IT director, our central dispatch director, county attorney, weights and measures, veterans affairs, EMS director, and EMA director. Sorry, I'm gonna kick you out. Oh, yeah, and highway superintendent.
And don't forget him.
So we would recommend the reappointment of Justin Sadoff, Vince Beinecke, Marcus Elliott, Kevin Hicks, Kyle Persinger, Mark Fleming, Brad Hodson, Dwayne Ashcraft, Bob Jackson, and David White to those respective positions.
So moved.
I second.
And it's a motion with support. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. You didn't know we were gonna vote on you today, did you, Marcus?
Yeah. It's surprised me.
All right.
We'll take it.
All right. Do we have health board appointments in our packet? Do.
There was an email.
Let's see that. I'm sorry.
Or maybe just I do.
There was an email, right?
I
Is that
think
what you're
that
working off of?
The recommendation is that Denise Pearson and Dr. Bragg be reappointed to the health board.
That's correct. That would be ending December 31, 2026
Yes.
for both of them.
Oh, that's the township vote.
Oh, so sorry. So
That is the current recommendation coming out of the health board, and both have agreed to continue to serve if appointed, so
we need to.
we would
make a
definitely
motion-
need a motion.
Make a motion to renew the board members currently sitting on the health board.
I second that motion.
Motion with support. Just a caveat to that, we recognize that Dr. Leidy tendered his resignation and will not be continuing on. But the other two appointees definitely are willing and ready to serve. We want to thank Dr. Leidy for his work as well. Any other question, comment, or statement?
Yes, sir.
All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Right, we have done health board, we've already taken care of ECI, we've taken care of Economic Development Commission. Schedule,
We have not done EDC.
what did I, what do we need to do there?
There's, if you're looking to reappoint, that's David Morgan Jr.
Oh, thank you.
His appointment will come up February 1 this year. So I guess if you're going to reappoint, if you have someone new in mind.
This is the commission that reviews and the most recent that we've really done any work with them is the new senior living quarters up there off of Adams Street and Meridian Street out there on by 44th, 45th Street. So that's that the commission worked on that, so. We have a recommendation and a willingness from David Morgan Jr. to be reappointed if you gentlemen are interested in that.
I make a motion that we reappoint Mr. Morgan 4-year.
4-year.
I'll second that.
All right, motion with support. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried. Schedule the Board of Finance, resolution on the farm lease. Justin, if you'll walk us through that.
So you have two items regarding the farmland. One is a drawn up resolution agreeing to lease the property. I guess this will be for another 3 years. The minimum offering price was set at $250 per acre by recommendation of the appraisals. If agreed to accept or approve the resolution, behind that, you'll see the notice of property lease that will be advertised. It is set for advertisement on January 4 and January 11. Again, that's a $250 minimum. Bids will be received beginning tomorrow until noon on February 10th. Each bid must be accompanied by a cashier's check, the amount of $1,000. Bids will be opened at 10 a.m. on February 21st. And the best bid at the oral auction will be accepted or rejected by 4 p.m. on March 6th.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Justin. What we have done at that bid opening is we uniquely, we open the bid and see if there are any other higher bids that are given, and there can actually be bidding until we close it.
They need to come.
That day.
Yes. So we open the bids. As long as they bid, then they'll go into the auction that day. And we'll do that here. Okay. And then the person with the highest, if you're willing to accept that, you have to give your decision by March 6th.
It's a unique process. Sometimes we have bidding war, sometimes we don't. It's up here.
How long is that? Once it's approved, how long is that? Is that a year, 3 years? 3 years.
3 year contract. So I'm guessing that if we do a resolution, today is number one.
Yes, sir.
We have done that probably, we've been doing that even before I was a commissioner, so we continue to utilize that extra ground for a farmer that would like to utilize that, so.
We can bring back a little bit of money into the county. That's right. Right. Chairs, are ready for a motion?
Yes, sir.
Make a motion that we pass resolution 1/2023.
I second.
Motion, Mr. Wright, second, Mr. Stewart, to approve resolution 1/2023, resolution of the Board of Commissioners, Grant County, Indiana, for the lease of real estate noted therein. Any discussion? All those in favor would say aye.
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 Aye, it is carried. And then we would have to approve the release of notice for the property release, and it will be advertised as noted here in the release.
And do you need a motion for that?
We do.
Make a motion that we pass notice of property lease for the property out on Garthway Road.
I second that motion.
Motion with support. Any discussion on that? Hearing none. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye, it is carried. All right. It's a property lease. We've done that, right, Justin?
Yes.
And last but not least with you, the annex floor bids, second
So
floor.
we have, I apologize, these are not in your packets. I got them last minute. We have bids for the second floor of this building, carpeting, the last floor of this building.
That you need to carpet.
That we need to carpet, yes. So we have Kyle's in at $19,356. Stacks with a bid of $19,280.95. Going with the lowest and best, my recommendation would be Stacks.
Have a recommendation. Thoughts?
There's no discussion. I'll make a motion that we go with Stacks as presented.
Second that.
Motion to go with Staggs, Mr. Stewart, second, Mr. Wright. Any other discussion? This has been a long process, and we've played upset the fruit basket with departments for quite some time, but we're just about ready to get it done. I know that Angie is really excited that we're going to mess up her floor for a while. All right. All those in favor would say aye.
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 Aye, it is carried. Justin, was there another item that you had?
I do have one last item. So going back probably 2 commissioner meetings ago, you approved an ordinance for mobile home transfer and moving permits for the $15 permit fee. Looking back on that ordinance, there was a typo in the Indiana codes that were provided. Kyle drew up the correct one and advised that this is replacing the other one, but we will need a new number for this year.
And that's an ordinance.
That, yes, ordinance. And I'm assuming.
Ordinance number 1 would be the recommendation, yes. Entertain a motion if you gentlemen would like to make one.
Mr. President, I would move that we pass ordinance number 1, 2023 to supersede the ordinance that we passed last year for a mobile $15 fee for transfers.
I second that motion.
Motion, Mr. Wright, second, Mr. Stewart. Any other discussion?
When passed, this will then go to the council.
For their signature?
Yes.
Very good. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. It is carried. All right, I have one other item as well before we check on any other new business. Come to my attention, we need to have an executive session and meeting with our attorney over employee issue. He is available the 9th at what time?
Thursday at 4.
Thursday at 4. And I would like permission to call the executive session and advertise that so that we can review that employee situation.
I make a motion that we advertise the executive session for is it the 9th? No, or
I'm looking at the wrong month.
the 5th.
The 5th. Thank you.
Thursday, January 5th,
4 p.m.
4 p.m.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Stewart, second, Mr. Wright. All those in favor would say aye.
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 Aye. It is carried. Thank you. We'll get that advertised right away. Mr. Sadoff? Gentlemen, are you aware of any other new business that we need to be working on right now?
None for me, no, sir.
All right. It is 18 minutes past the hour of 11. We're going to go to public comments. If anyone would like to address the Board of Commissioners, we'll invite you to step up to the podium, present your name, your address, your concerns or comments. With your permission, gentlemen, Mr. Stewart made a recommendation, at least in passing after the meetings that we had down at the state, recommending that we, for general practice, limit dialogue to 3 minutes a person. And I think we're going to work on a new kind of a statement that, yeah, we'll put out as well.
And I can work on that. Basically, the statement says that any public comments needs to pertain to county business. We need to keep it professional. We need to maintain some decorum in those comments. But I can work on the actual statement for meetings in the future.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
All right. So we do open up the podium for public comment and invite you again, present your name, your address, and concerns and comments.
I'm Jackie Sheets, Southern Grant County. I just would like to know if you guys would please all introduce yourselves and explain your position. So I want.
Oh, you
Like,
mean,
you guys, everybody up here could introduce yourselves.
sure.
Thank you.
I'll start. Justin Sadoff, I'm the county administrator and HR director.
April Ailes, administrative assistant to the commissioners.
I'm Ron Stewart. I'm the county commissioner newly elected for District 3.
Mark Marsley, District 2 County Commissioner. And And thank you for your emails.
Steve Wright, the District 1 Commissioner.
Angie Jarvis, elected auditor.
Right. Anyone else? All right. We have made it through our organizational meeting. Thank you, gentlemen. And again, welcome. We're excited and I'm appreciative that you've taken on some of the weight. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm excited. I'm excited for the opportunity.
All right. We will declare ourselves in recess until our next regular session on the, help me again, is that the 16th or 17th? 17th at 10 a.m. Thank you.
Do you want to sign here? Upstairs. You guys.